IISD Reporting Services is here in Lima, Peru for the UN climate change talks, covering selected side events. On Tuesday, the 9th of December, a high-level COP20 Gender Day event was held.
It is a time to recognize the importance that the gender approach has in the climate debate. Women has the capacity to move with leadership this world in our domestic legislation and policy into real action. So that is why also this is the time to celebrate and to recognize what the SBI has just approved, that it is going to send it to the high-level segment, the LIMA Working Program for Gender. It is a very important decision.
We know that climate change exacerbates existing gender inequalities. We know that over 50% of the 1.5 billion people living on $1 a day or less are women. We know that in sub-Saharan Africa alone, women spend an estimated 40 billion hours collecting and carrying water. We know that according to the FAO, women produce over 60% of food in some countries, and we know that during extreme events such as drought, floods, and other climate-related disasters, women face additional risks. Next year, we'll mark the 20th anniversary of the Beijing Declaration, which recognized that women's rights are human rights. There are parts of the world where women still don't know that or don't feel that.
As a young woman from a least developed country, it's a very tough. Gender inequality does not have to be a normal in our life. Within gender also, the lens we look at the gender has to be refined. It has to be refined in the sense of urban and poor women, high-income family and low-income family, women belonging to the non-indigenous and indigenous family.
For UNDP, the most important general point is what you don't measure doesn't count. So we believe very, very strongly that in the approach to policy making and data collection, we have to have gender disaggregated data to really be able to measure the impacts of policies and programs in these fields, and especially in climate mitigation and adaptation.
Y por Susan, cuando mencionaba la necesidad de generar evidencia, de tener data, no solamente, como lo decía Susan, lo que no se mide no cuenta, sino también que lo que no se mide no puede mejorarse.
As well as gender-sensitive research methods, Susan McDade emphasized the importance of local knowledge.
Lots of the knowledge about how to use water better, how to be more drought resistant, how to plan for when times are hard, many of those practices exist in women's farmers. So very often it's to make sure that we don't arrive with a preset solution, but we really consult local groups, including women, on the solutions and see women as agents of change and part of the solution and not as beneficiaries.
I would like to take this opportunity to just call on my fellow brothers, men and boys, to engage more in this conversation. And we will not be able to achieve gender equality if half of the population turn their backs on this conversation because they think it is not of their concern.
Pa Osman Jaju, Gambia's Minister of Environment, Climate Change, Water Resources, Parks and Wildlife, elaborated on progress towards gender-sensitive climate policy.
We also have gender-sensitive climate policies in some LDCs in Malawi, South Africa, Lesotho, Liberia, which are also very good examples of countries that have prepared gender mainstreaming guidelines at national level.
Participants reflected on the significance of Gender Day and looked ahead towards a post-2015 gender-sensitive agreement.
We have once in a millennium opportunity, not even a century or a generation opportunity to link gender equality and women's empowerment, prioritize it to sustainable development and to the climate change action that we are seeking here in this conference.
One of the most important things, and the reason why I'm here in this event today, is because I believe that whatever decisions we take right now in these spaces, UN spaces, have a great impact in billions and billions of people around the world. So we need to get the policies right now where the decisions are being made. And for that, we need the participation of women.
Involving women in processes that affect the negotiations on climate change, the funding mechanisms on climate change, and the solutions, whether it be on mitigation or adaptation, should also involve women and women's voices in those discussions and in the solutions.
For me, it was a strong call to decision makers, to ministers, that you can't have a 2015 agreement that doesn't have gender equality and human rights as the center of the overall achieving what we're trying to do here on climate action.